Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Elhamdülillahi Rabbil alemin. Vessalatu vesselamu ala seyyidina Muhammedin ve ala alihi ve sahbihi ecmain. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, everyone, and welcome to our third series in our discussion. Inshallah, for those, just as a kind reminder, we are reading the chapter 25th from the books of Flashes, which is a part of the Risale-i Nur Collection. Inshallah, we went through first remedy, second, third, and fourth, and inshallah, this week we will start from the fifth remedy. For anyone who is joining, they can write their questions or ask through the chat box. We are fortunate today. We have two guest speakers, Brother Harun from US and Brother Mustafa from Turkey. Inshallah, we are going to start first reading from the original text, and then we can go back to the beginning and share, inshallah, our insights, questions, and answers. So, the fifth remedy, where we stopped it, inshallah. Bismillah, fifth remedy, to those afflicted with illness, I would say this, it is my opinion, born of personal experience, that for some people, illness is a bounty from Allah, the most merciful. Over the past 8 or 9 years, a number of young people have asked me to pray for their recovery from some illness or other. I should add here that I do not consider myself worthy of the good opinion of those who ask me to pray for them. But the simple fact is that they do. Interestingly enough, all of these are young people who I have noticed have begun to think of the hereafter, akhirah, much more than their peers do. They lack the usual drunkenness of youth, having renounced to an extent the lust and negligence of the young. And so I remind them that their illness are bounties from Allah, and that they should try to bear them as much as they are able. I say to them, friend, I have nothing against this illness of yours, and thus I don't feel so sorry for you that I should pray for your recovery. Try to exercise patience until this illness has woken you up completely. Once it has performed its duty, your compassionate Creator will, Allah willing, inshallah, restore you to good health. I also tell them, long periods of good health and well-being can be extremely damaging because they often lead to complacency. And on account of the calamity that is continuous good health, some of your peers become neglectful of their duties. They give up the 5 daily prayers, they forget that one day they will die, and they give no thought to Allah Almighty at all. The superficial pleasure obtained from a few moments of worldly engagement blights their eternal lives, in some cases destroying them completely. Your illness, on the other hand, opens your eyes. It makes you see the grave, which you will enter in any case, and it focuses your attention on what lies beyond. And in so doing, it makes you act and behave accordingly. For you, therefore, illness is actually good health. For you, therefore, illness is actually good health. For some of your peers, however, good health is actually a sickness. Now, let's go back to, inshallah, the beginning and try to maybe understand. And if we have any questions, please share your questions through the chat box. And I would like to also listen our guest speaker's opinion about this remedy. So we are trying to explore the remedies for our internal and external sicknesses. Some of these sicknesses are visible, some of them not, visible or non-visible. But Alhamdulillah, Ustad shared with us the 4 of them. Now we come to the 5th one. So Harun Abi, if you are available, what comes to your mind when we read this one? Can you give us a little bit overview, or what is like kind of a take-home messages for us?
Assalamu alaikum, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Mustafa, again. I wanted to start with the last paragraph of the previous remedy, if we can, because I think it is very connected, and I feel like the 4th remedy is very deep. Of course, all of them are deep, but since in the 4th one, it gives us connection to Esma-i Husna, I find it useful to repeat. The last sentence, we can just scroll down to the last sentence of the 4th one. Yes, here it says, illnesses, trials, and tribulations are all there to show you certain degrees of his beautiful names. So if we remember from the last week, this model example, so we were given a role, created, brought to this world as a model to reflect Esma-i Husna briefly. And once we understand this, once we agree upon this, then all we know is whatever turbulences, whatever calamities, whatever trials we encounter, it is just for us to take a position to reflect some of the judgments of these names. It is beautifully reflected here, like I'm hungry because the fact that the name Al-Razzaq should reflect. I have sicknesses for the fact that, I need to understand the name Al-Shafi that heals my sicknesses. As we know, opposites work here. I cannot understand anything obsolete, and that's the very point of the creation, right? We can understand the greatness of the creator by the, minuteness or smallness of ourselves. So opposites work here. And we are in need, and the creator provides everything that we need. We are so weak because the creator is possessing the ultimate power. So this helps us to understand all the names in the same fashion. So from here, when we come to the 5th remedy, actually, since usually we are ignorant of the fact that, this Esma-i Husna is working always, continuously, when I become sick, I try to defeat it. That's the first thing. I try to get rid of it. I perceive sickness is really bad in the first place. That's my first reaction to sickness that I encounter. So, however, when I may think deeper, actually it is something that is wanted on me, and it is part of the reflections of many Esma-i Husna, beautiful names of Allah. So when I look from this perspective, then I can understand, at least I can try to understand the wisdom behind sicknesses or calamities. So they are brought to me, and they are there for a reason. And I should try to understand how these are transforming, or these sicknesses and calamities are transforming me in a way to understand the point of creation, even. I can summarize from this perspective. Maybe Mustafa has more to say.
Thank you very much, Harun Abi, for your insights and making a connection from the 4th remedy to 5th remedy. So we see how the beautiful names of Allah is being reflected through these sicknesses, and how we can, be like a true mirror through these names, like Razzaq, Shafi, right? And I underline one of the statement Ustad is making here. Illness is a bounty from Allah, is a gift, according to Ustad here. So how can we, grasp this idea? Because illness, it seems like a burden. I mean, right now, in the previous one, maybe some people were complaining, and Ustad shows that you don't have a right to complain, criticize. But now the ones who are really sick, and Ustad is giving some of his personal experiences. So what we can say, Mustafa Abi, about this? How do you see in general this remedy, and what can you say about being the bounty of Allah?
Yes. Jazakallah for the introduction, and Harun Hocam, thanks for the connection with the fourth remedy. That's indeed very important. As you both, explained that being a mirror to Allah's names is very important, and we tend to emphasize this, as Ustad emphasizes this a lot in many parts of Risale-i Nur. And I remember Kolmuj also likes to emphasize this matter as well. This is very core of the Iman. I think all existences, all creatures being a mirror reflection of Allah's names, and the more you reflect Allah's names, is the better. So there are all different types of Allah, all different names of Allah, and all names will be reflected on humankind or all other creatures as well. And in people's lives, in our lives, we go through different states of life, and in those different states we reflect different names of Allah depending on the situation, and sickness is a part of it, and everybody becomes sick at part of their lives, and it reflects the names of Allah, al-Shifa, like, or ar-Rahman, some of those names. This particular fifth remedy is more practical. Ustad mentions that it starts with the story of the young people getting sick and asking for dua. That anecdote is very important. He says this is quite practical and quite straightforward. The sickness that you're thinking as a trouble, or a calamity, is not indeed a calamity, but as Ustad also mentions this at the end of this particular remedy, it's actually a blessing. The sickness, if our main purpose in life is to go to hereafter. We are here for a very short period of time. This life is transient, and we are preparing ourselves for the eternal life. And for the eternal life, sickness actually is something that wakes us up, that takes our ghafla away, and that gets us closer to Allah. And remember our main purpose in life, that is to work for the hereafter. So this is a blessing. If we can really appreciate and think of what sickness really is, this is a blessing. And this, when we become sick, this is actually a good reminder for us to appreciate and see the beauty inside sicknesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mustafa Abi, for sharing your insights. And what also took my attention, as we said also, being like a gift from Allah, when we consider ourselves, we are sending gifts to our beloved ones, the ones we are interested in, as in the close circles of friendships. So if Allah is sending to someone as a gift, that means Allah is really interested in that person. So it is actually a special status. Allah sent the sicknesses to Ayyub alayhi salam, Jacob alayhi salam. So he has been go through a lot of difficulties to sicknesses, but at the end it gives a lot of fruits also for his life. And also, Ustad, is, as you said, young people. I mean, maybe we need to underline this also. A lot of young people, they are in the state of drunkenness, as Ustad stated here. So what the state of drunkenness makes is you actually ignore or forget the main duties you have to do. It's just more like enjoyment and entertainment. But when you look at the young people, they may not come much to prayer, they may forget their daily 5-day prayers, maybe they may not even consider the next life, what's gonna be waiting for them. So when the gift is coming, it's actually waking up them, and then it seems that it has a duty. It is a servant sent by Allah to wake them up, because those people, they are spiritually sick from some perspectives. Maybe not knowing Allah or not thinking about akhirah is a type of sickness. As we said, we have some visible or invisible sicknesses. Maybe one of the sickness Ustad is identifying and he's finding the cure with these statements. So also when the nafs is being, entertaining us with this dunya, Ustad is also giving a statement here, is the sickness could be like eyes. So how do you see this? Because in our worldly eyes, we can see what is around us. Well, when you get sick, another thing is opening. So what do you think, Harun Abi, about how we can use the functionality of these eyes for the next life? How do we see it?
Yes, great question. Before getting into this, also maybe it's good to talk about the balance. The sentence you had underlined, Mustafa, which read, actually before this sentence, it says for some, right? I mean, we cannot say that sickness is good for all. We are trying to understand, for some people, illness is a bounty. That's again the balance, because I feel like it could be understood in the wrong way, such as we can just claim that, it's better to be sick than, healthy. But here it's not the case, that's not true to say that. But we know that sickness and illness exists, and it comes to us at some point. And I think that's the point. When it comes, we should understand the wisdom behind it. Otherwise, maybe we can say on average, a person coming to this world is healthy on average, not sick. So, and all this healthy state is bounty from Allah, from God. So the minority, or the very short, let's say on average time of being sick, it's also bounty. We should see that. I think that's the point. And also the distinction, not every people are the same. We know some people are in trial in this world with wealth. They are examined by their wealth and health. But other people are examined more with their sickness, to say. So not everybody is the same. Not all trials, not all exams are the same. Not similar questions are asked. But what we know, all the questions, all the examinations are just, because we know that the merciful, Allah, the most merciful, will not put hardship on us that we cannot, bear. So I just wanted to emphasize these points as well, as it is relevant to me. When we come to your question, yeah, obviously, I mean, the state of being negligent, being in ghafla, it usually comes through, in a way, being perfected in health. Like if everything goes very well in my life, I'm quite sure that my tendency is to getting into a state of forgetfulness. But whenever something goes unexpected, despite my expectations, then obviously it's kind of eye-opener, because I hit the wall. When you hit the wall, your eyes are opened, your senses, your emotions are shattered, right? So sicknesses are shattering us. It's kind of, how can I be sick? I was kind of in a perfect state. I was walking, running, I was thinking intellectually in a healthy state, but now I'm disabled. I cannot even think, in a healthy state. So that's kind of hitting the wall, and that's makes me think, you know, maybe I'm too much into this world, maybe I'm too much emphasizing importance, you know, on worldly tasks, or I'm just, you know, making myself from inside more egoist. I trust myself more. But now with the sickness, my eyes are opened and I see that, you know, I'm really weak and, you know, something can happen to me at any time with no reason. Yeah, I think that will be the short answer.
Thank you very much, Harun Abi, especially for the point you said for some of the people, right? Not for everyone. We need to underline that. I think the last sentence where it is somehow related with this statement, for some people, actually, the health is a sickness. Like Ustaz says, some of the people, illness is actually a good health. And some of the peers, like some of the people, the good health is actually their sickness. So how come it becomes like a good health, a sickness? What do you think, Mustafa Abi, about this? A person is very good in a health, and then we see like doctors tell them you're one of the healthiest person. How come Ustad is describing this as a sickness? Could you please share us through your maybe experiences?
Sure, yeah. Yeah, I have pointed to it a little bit, but yeah, this is an important point as you raise the question. If our main aim is this life, then sickness is a trouble. But if our aim is the hereafter, then sickness may be actually a healthy situation for us to be prepared for the akhirah, for the hereafter. Because, especially in modern times, many people, most of us, we live, in a rush. We always in a rush. We have a lot of things to do. We have to read this much. We have to, listen to this. We have to work this. We have to make this much salary, and we have a lot of expenses, and we have to cover for them, and we have to raise our kids, and this and that. There are many things going on in our lives. And we think we accomplish all of these with our own strength. We assume we work for all of these, and as a result, we get all of these, things like the salary, the education, whatever that is, and so our ego also becomes our maybe biggest enemy, or maybe the biggest sickness. Because we tend to think we are powerful to accomplish things in our lives, and we have all the capacity, and we run and we finish these things, complete tasks, and then we start to think that I accomplished this and that, and we forget how weak we are. So this becomes like a sickness for us. We forget our actual state, that we are all in every situation, in every state of our life, in every second and every moment of our lives. We are all fully dependent on Allah. So we forget. So this forgetfulness of our own real true state becomes the sickness. So this the sickness in the traditional way, meaning we lose our health, becomes it gives us the opportunity to wake up from this ghafla, that we accomplish things ourselves, and it's it wakens us up that we our main focus should be not this world, that is this daily task that we complete, but our main tasks should be getting ready for akhirah, for the hereafter. So this is really relevant, a very important point. Thank you.
Subhanallah, thank you very much, Mustafa. It's a powerful message. We should underline this statement. Illness is actually good health. It's like what I understood from your statement. It's a reminder, which is saying that we are not eternal in this world. The sickness is also temporary. It has a duty to achieve. and we should leave our ignorance. As you said, we did not achieve all of these things by ourselves. Why should we be like a proud or arrogant about these? So I think sickness is, you know, weakening us, and it's shaking us and reminding actually grave. One day we will enter to that grave, and then what should be prepared? Because as you said, we should put the akhirah first, and then you look for also your nasib, your let's say rizq in this dunya. I mean, it doesn't mean that we should all you know, pray, read Quran and do nothing about the dunya. It doesn't mean that, but we should put the akhirah filter and work also dunya in a balanced way. So if we put first dunya and then the akhirah is the last, this can be like kind of a good health is going to be like a sickness, as you described. Thank you very much for these great insights. Is there anything like anyone who would like to contribute? Fatih Abi, Ali Abi, or
can I have, yes,
please.
Can I have a question and partly comments? Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
About the beginning of the fifth remedy, brothers shared their feelings, understandings, and perhaps different aspect we can a little discuss. I'd like to share and ask. In the second sentence, through experience, I have formed the opinion at this time that for some people, sickness is a divine bounty, a gift of the most merciful. About for some people, it is gift, it is said that here, but the similar sentence is in the 13th remedy, nearly similar, but different sentence is following it. It is like this: "O unhappy person," in the 13th remedy, who complains at illness. For some people, again, the same. Illness is a rich treasury, a precious divine gift. And this, the sentence I read now, there isn't in the fifth remedy here. And another aspect, perhaps it is indicating. Every sick person can think of his illness in this way. At the beginning and in the fifth remedy, it is not said for everybody the sickness is a gift of Almighty Allah. But here it is said that every sick person can think of his illness in this way. For some, the phrase of "for some people," can it be related to the mystery of exam? I mean, nearly everybody in this world, during youth or old term, or maybe everybody sometimes becomes ill. But it depends, can we say, because of for some people, it depends on to the answer of ill person. This is related to the mystery of exam. If that person, sick person, reads or sees the illness as a gift of Allah, becomes gift. But if the person, ill person, doesn't see it as a gift, it becomes disaster. I think the problem or the question is similar for nearly everybody, but for some people see it as gift and becomes as gift. Because in the 13th remedy I read, every person can think about it as a gift of Allah. Our brother's opinion, if possible, we can listen. The difference between the fifth remedy and the 13th remedy. Even atheist, for example, if he sees the illness and if that atheist unbeliever uses it as an opportunity, the illness becomes gift. It doesn't become as gift. I think, as far as I understand, or I remember our discussions. Yes.
Ali abi, thank you very much for this great question. Yeah, we need to underline this point again. Is it like a point of view? Maybe for almost everyone, it could be an opportunity, it could be a gift. But even for believers, if they don't have a, let's say, a high level of iman, if the iman level is weak, maybe they could see this is not a gift, they could complain. So should we think about this way? So I would like to hear also from Harun abi or Mustafa abi to the question of Ali abi, what can we say to see this point? I think we went through, but now there is another angle, another perspective of this question. Inshallah, we are benefiting more by revisiting and exploring different meanings, inshallah.
Mustafa, you can take it.
Yes.
Okay, so since when Alab started explaining about this aspect of the phrase some, I was thinking like I was assuming this is related to the state of iman of that people have. But since he mentioned atheists, this is maybe this could be a different perspective. Yeah, in some cases, even the atheists may have a positive attitude towards troubles in life that will make them stronger. That there is a saying, a trouble that doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? That's the saying. I don't know if this is the exact phrase, but something like that. So so to look at it in a general picture, not just sickness, but any kind of trouble in our lives that that comes and goes in every people's lives. And what matters is our reaction to all these events, all these troubles and tribulations in life. And some people might have a negative attitude towards something happening seemingly negative situation, occasion, and some people might have like to be challenged. Some people like to be challenged, and they grow and become stronger. So I don't know what's the exact how we can define this. What changes to person to person, maybe psychology or I don't know. This is maybe deep stuff, but iman really should put us in a stronger position. Regardless of our upbringing or family or our wealth, any kind of background, iman should make us stronger because we know the source and we know the wisdom behind it, and we should know actually by reading these passages and by reflecting upon all these troubles that comes in life. Just even this relevant situation, the war that's happening in Palestine. This is a troublesome event, and we get distressed, all of us. And but actually, this is in another perspective, this is also a blessing, because the people that die, they go to heaven. We know they raise to the level of shaheed, and the people that remain, I can see from their reactions that they become closer to Allah and they have a higher, stronger level of iman. So maybe they have less ghafla than we have. So in many cases like this, depending on our state and our reaction, many troubles actually can make us closer to Allah and become blessing. So it depends on our situation, people's behavior, but it's really hard to exactly define what causes this. But Ustad put this condition here. It's just for some people. So this is my take.
Thank you very much, Mustafa abi. Harun abi, would you like to add anything to this question?
Yeah, from what I understood, actually, it's questioning the power of perspective, nazar. And definitely we know nazar or perspective is the key with anything. We know that perspective can transform everyday actions to worship. We know it's very powerful, and it's maybe one of the best things to understand during our lifetime, as Ustad Said Nursi mentions. You know, he learned this in 40 years of his life and 30 years of education. So yeah, obviously, and it includes sicknesses and calamities. If I have the correct perspective, then it becomes treasure for me, right? So if you take the right perspective for any calamities, sicknesses, afflictions, definitely, then it's going to transform into bounty, into treasure, and that will be something to benefit from. But of course, it's not easy to take this stance, obviously. It's good to emphasize, you know, the power of perspective, transformative power of perspective.
Thank you very much, Harun Abi. What comes to my mind is also, sorry, someone wants to say something?
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
only a small question I'd like to add.
Yes.
I have no idea now. As I am listening, I remember the question. Only to understand better, inshallah, together, I am asking. But looking at these statements, for some people, illness is a bounty from Allah. Can we say, for example, for some people, bounty is a bounty from Allah? Also, bounty. Is it the similar thing? Can we say, for example, oxygen or wealth, health, car, garden, good salary, large house, related to mystery of exam, still can we say not everybody, not all people, for some people, bounty is a bounty from Allah, or related to the bounty, should we say for everybody, for all people, bounty is bounty. You know, did I state our question? I don't guess.
Abi, can I just make a comment on that?
Yes,
If I
please, go
understood
ahead.
correctly. Yeah, I can partition my answers into two groups to question of Ali Abi. One is that the believers comment or nazar. The other one is that the unbelievers. When I talk to, for instance, that the Christian people here, if there is a like disease, illness, or any other type of thing that is gonna hurt them, they always says, this is purifying yourself. So that believers, that answer the question is like purifying, or we say that it's coming from Allah, alhamdulillah. But the unbelievers, it's a huge disaster and damage to their eternal and appearance and physical appearance as well, eternally and externally as well, because they don't believe that or I would say most of them don't believe that all the bounties is coming from Allah. As we were discussing, all of our Abis was saying, it's just my power. I did this. This is what I've done. I've done from the scratch or from the beginning, and then I got this money, for instance, but I lost everything. This was mine. This is a huge disaster for them. Not only like externally that you can see that they're crying on all other things, but eternally that their Wijdan and Qalb is going to cry as well, shredded fully. They will have no answers because they don't believe, that they are thinking that it's all the bounties is coming from Allah, not from themselves, not from Allah. Because they say that I did that. I earned this. I deserve this. But I lost everything. All because of, for instance, this person, this asbab or this thing happened, whatever happened. So my understanding from this question, we can partition into two groups. One is that the believers' answers or reflection. And I was talking to the Hastalar Risalesi for some of the Christian people here, and they say that the purifying yourself eternally and externally as well, that it's just the purifying themselves. That's what I heard. And this is what my experience is. But the non-believers, it's just a huge damage to their life. Their brain is fully damaged. Wijdan and qalb and ruh is completely, or soul is completely damaged and shredded. That's what I understood. I don't know if I answer or address it a little bit, but this is what I have, what I experienced.
Thank you very much, Hikmet abi, for sharing your insights. Yeah, these are great points. I mean, what comes to my mind also, there was a story about Africa. From England, two people were sent from a company, the shoe manufacturers, to Africa to do sales, to sell shoes to the Africans. This was in the initial stages. So when we look like from healthy and unhealthy environment, like, you know, Africa is being seen as unhealthy, not a clean water, not a lot of opportunities. But when they look US or Europe, it looks like a golden opportunities. But when the two representatives from the same company, they went, they're under the umbrella of the same company. One went to one city and the other guy went to another city. So they sent back to the original company message. One says, it's a disaster. You know, no one is wearing a shoes here. We cannot sell anything. And the other guy who went to a different city, he also texts or send a telegraph to the company saying that it's a golden opportunity. We have a treasure. No one has a shoes. We have a huge potential. We could sell a lot of shoes. So kind of it's a point of perspective. Is the glass is half full or half empty? Or how do we see it? I think the believers among them, based on the degree of their belief, as Ali Abi mentioned in the 13th remedy, Ustad is saying that this could be a treasure for some. But everyone can imagine for their own self, because treasure is not something very clear to you, it's hidden. So if you hunt it, if you spend time, if you struggle, maybe the hidden treasure for someone could be a house, for someone it could be like a big car. But you need to dig. So Allah is giving, maybe for someone who doesn't want anything, just the oxygen, because they need breathing, it could be a treasure for them, or a very sick person. I think it has many layers of bounties. This is what I understood from all of your statements, inshallah. But, you know, this was like one sentence maybe, but it shows that how deep, how comprehensive the messages of Ustad is giving from the, you know, the path of Quran and Sunnah. So Alhamdulillah. Is there anyone like who would like to add, or inshallah we may move maybe the next remedy? We spent a quite good time for the fifth one.
Maybe we can also
anyone?
distinguish between bounty and treasure. I
Yes.
felt like there's a slight difference, at least, you know. I mean, the positive states, bounties, these are something to be immediately subjected to, and we are kind of consuming bounty, and we are getting joy out of it. But for treasure, it's not for immediate consumption, and maybe treasure is for investment. So it looks like it is more clever, and of course it is harder to deal with, you know, negative states like sicknesses and calamities. I think that's the reason, although it is hard to cope with, their potential, you know, attributes them treasure instead of bounty. And nobody can get joy, right, out of, you know, let's say sicknesses, calamities, I mean, directly. But if you treat or if you pursue them in the right way, then that means you're investing. You're using this treasure. So I felt like, yeah, that's slight difference between them. And I would also address, I mean, I think it is more difficult to transform calamities into treasures than transforming bounties to calamities. That was, I think, one of the questions. I feel like it is way easier to accept bounties than, you know, accept calamities. It will be something similar. So I would say most of the people would not go wrong with bounty, but most of the people would go wrong with sicknesses.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's good to distinguish these terms, right? In the original context, Harun abi, the bounty is like hediye, right? Or ihsan, meaning hediye-i rahmani or like ihsan ilahi. So these
Is it?
two
Okay.
under the category of bounty, you see this? I mean, when we say the bounties, these are the collection of
Yes,
the
these are the
gifts from-
wordings. I just confirm, yes.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very
Sorry,
much.
Abi, then I have a question then. You know that we know that Lutfu Qahr Shay Wahid. We know that everything is coming from Allah, so good things and bad things. So when you separated or distinguished the bounty and then calamity or sickness or diseases, that it might how do you explain this then? Because we know that the Lutfu Qahri Shay Wahid bilmeyen çekti azap. This is Turkish, but I don't know how to translate it into English anyways. But
Yeah,
what I was
mashallah.
thinking, both coming from Allah, even bounties and as well as the diseases. And so what would you like to say?
Isn't it, I mean, in compliance with, there's this statement, my mercy is more than my, how to say, my punishment. Rahmet is more than Ghadab. So in this way, from the beginning, I mean, we are subject to more bounties or positive states than the negative states, let me call, including all afflictions and calamities and sicknesses. So I'm saying that it is more difficult, maybe I'm wrong, that's how I perceive it. It is more difficult for a believer to understand calamities, wisdom, than, appreciate bounties from the Creator. That's the only thing. Otherwise, as you say, I mean, it's the ideal state not to distinguish, the source is the same. The source of the calamity and source of all goodnesses are the same. But however, in practice, to my experience or to myself, I think it is more difficult to see calamity's source as clear as the source of goodnesses.
Thank you very much, Harun abi. Mustafa abi, would you like to add anything? Ali abi, Fatih abi, or anyone who wants to say anything about the fifth remedy?
So regarding the same issue here, I just want to, share my thoughts on this. So we have been discussing about bounty and what is really bounty and what is trouble and what is sickness and what is this and that. So what I understand is in essence, as we have been discussing, and Harun have also pointed this out, in essence, it all depends on our perspective. It all depends on our reaction to the situation. So a regular, let's say, bounty, let's say we eat an apple and we say Alhamdulillah, we are thankful to Allah in that state. And it results in we get an immediate taste, right? We enjoy that apple, but what we really should be enjoying is that this is a bounty from Allah. So in essence, we are being thankful of the source. So, and let's say you are sick and you're not able to eat that apple, and again, you see this is it could also be a gift from Allah. It wakens you up and then it reminds you of your main purpose, that is to go the hereafter, and you are still in a situation that you are thankful to Allah. As the brother Hikmet, I guess his name, he was talking about in every condition, it could be a trouble or a bounty, as long as you react to of every situation that you see them as a bounty in any case, regardless of how they look from the outside, and if you are thankful in every situation, in reality, in essence, all of them becomes a bounty. and because it results into an eternal blessing, inshallah. But this is my last take from this remedy.
Sorry. Lastly,
Thank you very
I'd like to share small things. As,
Please,
yes. For example, if a believer is ill, for example, if believer use it in correct way for making supplication more, for example, for this believer, illness becomes a gift, and he improves his belief. But second thing, this was the first. I think 4 things shortly I'd like to share. If a believer is ill, and if he doesn't use it in correct way, in performing good deeds, for example, and if he objects this position, if he gives a wrong answer, I think the illness can be a disaster for believers. All of us at the fork. If an unbeliever is ill, and with this occasion, she can obtain belief, he can turn to the order of Allah because of illness or problems, and becomes gift, because he was unbeliever, but he can be believer. The cause can be illness. Or fourth one, if the unbeliever doesn't see the illness as a gift, or if he doesn't use it in a good way, his or her unbelief increases because of illness. I think all people in that aspect at the fork until that comes, and it depends to person's attitude or answer. Perhaps I can say that everybody can enter the among for some people. I'd like to repeat. For some people, it is a gift, but according to the statement in the 13th remedy, each person can enter to some people, for some people. I think this is in one aspect related to the mystery of exam and related to using free will. Yes.
Thank you very much, Alabi, for these the statements, and thank you very much for everyone for sharing their ideas. Any questions in the chat? No, I don't see any questions. So it becomes like very fruitful session for the 5th remedy. We have, I think, about 4 minutes left. Should we continue to 6th remedy, or maybe final thoughts if we have it? Because we may not finish even the reading the next one. One thing also it came to my mind, Alabi, there was a person as genetically disordered, like some serious sicknesses in the hospital in Texas. And he was actually, although hospitalized, he found the truth, you know, the sickness he has makes him like more thinking about the Creator, finding even like online sources to study Islam. He also listens some lectures, even though no one around him is like, as far as I remember, Muslim. In the room of hospital, you know, he was checking through internet and things like that. So right now, for the young people and related with the 5th remedy, the internet and many these, let's say, social media could be a problematic. I mean, it could be a state of drunkenness. They don't consider the next life. But if it's combined with sicknesses, you are being trapped, or you feel the pain, you feel the weaknesses, you don't have any arrogance, or You don't get like much pleasure from this world. You look for your Creator, His mercy. You're looking for things beyond this world. So this becomes like a kind of every minute you spend, it becomes like your investment, as Brother Harun said. You know, the treasure, it's like a long-term investment. The more minutes you spend, like the more capital you are spending, you're reaching to that treasure. And if they truly understand what is the truth and finding Iman, Iman is the greatest treasure. I mean, greatest treasure, right? Because it opens, let's say, the names of Allah and why we came to this world and where we are going, what Allah wants from us. I think all of these things, even for non-believers, the sickness is bringing like a good sight. And this is just come to my mind. A brother shared with me a long time ago, this sick person in Texas. I think it's relevant also with our fifth remedy. We have just 2 minutes. Inshallah, I would like to ask a dua from Ali Abi as our final minutes. You know, if no one has any question or any comments, inshallah, we could make a dua, inshallah.
سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعواهم أن الحمد لله رب العالمين ربنا آمنا بما أنزلت واتبعنا الرسول فاكتبنا مع الشاهدين ربنا لا تجعلنا مع القوم الظالمين ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للقوم الظالمين ربنا لا تجعلنا فتنة للذين كفروا واغفر لنا ربنا إنك أنت العزيز الحكيم يا محول الحول والأحوال حول حالنا إلى أحسن الحال اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم اللهم بحق سورة الإخلاص اجعلنا من عبادك المخلصين المخلصين آمين لله تعالى الفاتحة